Okay, I want to talk a little bit about how Uncle Ernie, PopPop, um, I guess just PopPop is how we're going to say it, how we met. It was very unusual. Now, I was in senior high school, and I had a very good friend, Jean Whitehall, and we palled around and all that. And then one day we had a fight, just minor, something didn't matter at all. But she sent my name into a cowboy magazine. Now, to this day, I don't remember what the name of the magazine is. But Ernie was in the service, in the Army, and he was in the KP or something. I don't know where it was, but he was in. But he saw the magazine, so got my name and another girl's name. Now, she lived in Chadds Ford. I lived in Glen Mills, both of Pennsylvania. Now, he decided he was going to come up and see us. Well, he came to see me first, thank goodness, because he hadn't decided which one he wanted to really meet yet. So he got off of the train. He came to Philadelphia for Mary Ellen's wedding. And he came off and he came towards us, towards me. And, oh, my heart just jumped. I fell in love immediately. He said he had the same feeling. And he never did go to see that other girl. Her name was Mary, and she lived in Chadds Ford, but that's as far as I know things went. Now, he came and he stayed at Nana's house, where I lived. And we went to the wedding. We bought a I don't even know what it was, but we bought some gift in Wanamaker's in Philadelphia before we went home. Well, now he had a week's leave. So Mary Ellen's wedding was there. He stayed for the wedding. And he stayed with Nana the whole time. And by the time he left, we were engaged in that week. He went back to camp, sent me this little teeny tiny ring. And I was thrilled. And then every week he'd send me a box of candy. Well, my teeth were bad. It about killed me, but I ate that candy and I shared it with a few people. But it was good. And then that was in June. Now he came home in September of that year of 1943. I was graduating in 43. He couldn't come to my graduation, but he got a medical discharge for anxiety and came home to Glen Mills and lived with Nana and me. And he became a Catholic in that time. The priest is the one that set our wedding date. And we just were so happy, and we walked back and forth. I don't know how many miles it was over to Chadds Ford. No, it wasn't Chadds Ford, Chester Heights. And he took instructions to become a Catholic. The poor thing, on our wedding day is when he became a Catholic. His first communion, and he was so nervous. He got out of the Army because he was nervous. And here I am putting him through this big wedding. I'm in my white gown and flower girls and all this sort of thing. And that poor guy, it's a wonder he didn't have a nervous breakdown right then and there. But we had met really by letter, because that's how we got acquainted. And he wrote a letter. Nana wouldn't let me go to bed unless I wrote him a letter. And so I say she's the one that pushed this marriage. And we didn't know how to say his name. The name, it turns out, in Texas was called Heesky. Well, we called it Husky, because that's what Nana said it was. If Nana said it, that was it. Well, Ernie came home. He was afraid to say anything. And so he went by the name of Husky. All his life he'd been Heesky. So that's what you call being afraid of your mother-in-law. But he took it very well. but for the rest of his life, he was Husky. So we got married, had a beautiful ceremony. Why he didn't have a nervous breakdown, I don't know, because it was a long, long ceremony. And it was, for some reason, they had a lot of flowers around at that time, so we didn't have to buy a lot of flowers. They were already on the altar. We bought flowers in Philadelphia for the girls to carry. We bought the cake in Westchester, and poor Ernie had to carry it home on the train, this big box. Why Nana didn't make it, I don't know, because that's what Nana did. She made cakes, but she didn't make that one. We had lots of people come to the ceremony, but there was gas rationing in those days, and people couldn't come back at night for that reception. So we had the reception, but very few people were there. And then we went into Philadelphia by train and had our honeymoon there. And we were there 4 days, stayed at the Ben Franklin, which is a beautiful hotel, and went to movies and just had a good time. But then we come home and he had to borrow money from my mother so he could go find a job, because we had absolutely nothing. He had bought me a coat, he had paid for my wedding gown, he had bought all kinds of stuff, and all of his mustering out pay was spent. So he had to borrow money. And that is how we met in the first couple of days of our marriage. And that was it.